Hello and welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Today is day 19 of the 31 Days of Tarot, and that is a video blog sprint held by another YouTube reader here on YouTube. Her name is Ethony, and what it is every day throughout the month of January, tarot and oracle card readers answer one question that pertains to the art of reading cards. And today's question is, what is your chosen deck for ritual and magic work? And what it was is yesterday we answered the question of what is your chosen deck for journey work. And what it is that I do journey work. I do introspective kind of meditative reads for myself, but I don't really do any magic or ritual work. So instead, I'm going to replace this question. The Vogue splint is very flexible in the fact that if you skip a day or if you're not able to do one of the questions, it lets you kind of navigate it as needed. And so what I'm going to do is I do still want to answer the question, but I'm just going to replace it with a different one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace it with a question from the 31 Days of Tarot from last year. And that question is, do you have any tarot self-care rituals? And so that still plays into the theme of rituals. And the answer to that is yes. Every night, what I do is I go to my decks and I pull cards for the next day's energies. And what I do is it's just kind of a nice way to relax at the end of the day. I definitely take it very in stride. I kind of go with the flow of what the energies are telling me. I don't take anything seriously, energy changes from moment to moment, but I do find it as a very just introspective way to end the day and to kind of prepare for the next day. So I wanted to go ahead and share that practice with you. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you follow me around. I'm going to show you my bookcase. And again, this is a very safe zone. So please, I have quite a few decks, but I use all of them pretty much on a daily basis. But I'm going to go ahead and show you my process and, what I do at the end of the day. And as I'm pulling cards, this is a real pull. It's going to be my energies for tomorrow, the 20th. And so I hope you enjoy. And if you'd like to, join me on this, let's go ahead and let's go. All right. And to begin, I'm going to go ahead and get kind of personal. I'm going to show you the area in which I store all of my decks. Again, how many decks that you have or, how into cards you are is a completely personal thing. You're probably going to see quite a few decks in this area. I have done kind of a count of the total number of decks I have, both tarot and oracle. And I can tell you this, it looks like a lot, and it is a lot, but I don't have as many cards as I have astrology books, and I definitely consider cards to be like books. They're normally around the same cost, and I just feel that it gives you a lot in return. So I do think that they're a good investment, at least at this point in my life. So there's definitely no judgment. If you have only one tarot deck that you love, that is enough. So definitely you don't have to go overboard. My collection might seem a little extensive, but I hope that you please don't judge me. Don't judge me. But this is the area, and what this is a bookcase that is, when you walk into my space, it is immediately to the right. If you study feng shui, it's in the creative sector, and you'll see that it kind of plays into where I display the cards as well. You'll see that in a minute. But I pretty much have it on two shelves. The first shelf, I have some marble, and then I also have some marble ends. These are decks that I like to see displayed. I use them quite frequently, but the meat of it is on the second shelf, and I'll show you that in just a second. But so, I have my first deck that I ever received, and then I have my D20 deck here, and a lot of the beginning cards I have here. This is also where I store all of my gemstone animals. I have another rock rug. The rock rug that you see over in my display area is different, but you can see I have my, my amber palm stone. You've seen that make an appearance before. So I keep other stones right here. And then this is my line strider deck. You can see this one I actually keep at the ready. This is one that I actually go to often, and my gemstone tiger's eye bear protects my cards there. This is a bell that I got many years ago, but in symbolism, a bell is asking for service, or asking,
and it also kind of really cleanses the energy. So I'll go ahead and ring it. Yep, see, I love the tone of it. It's very calming. But the majority of my work actually occurs with the second shelf, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this down so you can see. But my second shelf is actually where I keep a majority of both my card making supplies and my decks. And I have it kind of laid out. All of the bags that you see, or a majority of them, I make by hand. And so what you'll see is on the second shelf I have kind of a pull-out drawer. So I have everything stored in kind of bins. So what you'll see here is that, you know, most of my decks are kind of in this bin that I just go ahead and, you know, I pull out, and then I can go in and access them as needed. You know, I kind of have it in an order where I can get to it, and these are my dice. So that's the first bin. That's the biggest bin that I have, is that big brown one. Now, next to it, I have my dice bag for my, you know, story cubes, and then I have my other grab and go kind of decks. Now, what you'll see here is that you know, on this, and I'll go ahead and do a quick pull through here so you can see. Oh, sorry. Is you see that I have kind of 3 bins there. And the first bin is, you can see here, it has all of my kind of, it looks like a lot right there, but it definitely just kind of has all of my, these are more Oracle decks, and you'll see it in a little while when I go to pull them, but they all have storage bags, and I've sewn most of them. And yep, so that's the bin number 1. Bin number 2 is the biggie. This is the one that I keep all of my tarot decks in. So you'll see that you know, Rider-Waite-Smith's in front, Jane is next to it, and then my you'll see my Morgan Greer, my beloved Morgan Greer is there. And then the last one is also Oracle, but these are like kind of more my animal decks and self-care decks. So that's all there, and what I do is at the end of the day, I go in and I just, you know, I pull. So I'll pull, you know, I'll grab my dice and go. To the right there, you'll see that I kind of have a little corner, and this is where I keep all of my playing cards. And yep, and again, I make dice bags for just about everything. This is a surprise that's going to be coming later on this year. And of course I have, you know, other decks in there. But yeah, so this is my storage area, and this is where I go whenever I'm about to go ahead and pull my spread for the day. So let's go ahead and get that started. Let's go over and see what cards we're going to pull. And when we walk across the room, this is my family area. If you study feng shui, this is the immediate west or left-hand side of my room. I have a dresser that I just keep clothes in, but this is my my family and home area. So I have picture frames with pictures of my family, and it kind of goes in a gradient. It goes from my father's side to my mother's side and my immediate family. I do have pictures of great-grandparents, and then grandparents, and then, you know, me and my immediate family. And it is actually really special. The back here, I put flower paper just for you know, confidentiality, but I do have a beautiful picture of my grandmother and my father, who have both passed, and it's a picture of them at their favorite beach. And I just, every single time I see that picture, or anytime, you know, it's right center, and, you know, it always gives me such good energy. I just feel like I'm very watched and protected. But this is my area where I display cards, and what it is you can see I have green for the family area. That's the color in feng shui to support your energy here. And it actually kind of started out with just this little wooden, this is like a wooden holder for cards. You can buy it on Etsy, or you might be able to find plastic ones at game stores. But all it is it's really meant for children, or, you know, anybody who might have, you know, if you're older and you have arthritis in your hands. It's meant for playing games where you can just put cards. But I went ahead and bought one so I could just kind of put out my energy for the day. And as you can see, unfortunately, it kind of grew. I ended up getting more, you know, card display holders, just because I love cards. Honestly, this actually looks extreme. I feel a little bit bad. I start to, like, for instance, this is a picture of my grandfather, and I feel, I always end up using the picture frames. I'll start pulling the energies, and then I'll go, oh, okay, let me pull one more card. Let me pull one more card. I get real into it. And before you know it, I have more cards than I actually have display stands. And then I end up using the picture frames to kind of hold up the card. I hope my grandfather does not mind me using his photo. I haven't been hit by any lightning bolts yet, so I'm sure it's fine. But he doesn't mind, but especially if it's, it's for my meditative growth. But also what you'll see here is behind it, you'll see all of my feathers. And the feathers I've actually found. These are all, I'll show you a picture of it, but these are feathers that I have found when walking around. And I also find shiny pennies. I feel like shiny pennies are a sign from my dad. And I actually have a bowl that I keep all of my shiny pennies in. This is the bowl that I have. I find a lot of them actually. But yeah, so this is my display area, and what you'll see is these are the actual cards that I pulled for yesterday's energy, or for today's energy, the 18th. And you see, I always end up pulling the dice first, and I keep the dice right here, and then I spread out and start pulling cards. Now, the way that I typically pull cards, and let me go ahead and show you, is I'm going to go ahead and gather up the cards, and I'll show you how I go about pulling new cards. But what I do is I pair the cards from the same deck together, and I just kind of pull them together and kind of do almost like a hand of playing cards. I kind of spread them out, and these three were together. And so what I'll do is, my goal is that I'm keeping all of the cards of the same decks together, so when I go to pull more cards. And this is also a very nice way for me to kind of reconnect with the energies one last time before I pull fresh ones for the day. It's really very therapeutic. So here I have all of my cards. I'm going to gather them up and take them over to the area where I draw them. Okay, and the area that I go to throw my cards is actually different than the area, the table that you see. It's nothing real fancy, it's just my bed, and it's just a lot closer to where I store my cards, so it's easy for me to just kind of turn, grab, and go. But what I do is I always start with the dice, and I do the dice every day. The dice is always part of my ritual, and what I do is I go in and I replace the dice that I from the day before, and then I go ahead. So what is my die? What's my story cube for tomorrow? What is my energy for tomorrow? Ooh, okay. I do also take note in the way that it falls. So that's my dice for tomorrow. The die for today conversation was human nature, and I thought that was a fun one, but let's go ahead and see what is our dice for tomorrow. And then on the bottom, we got buy. Focus, please. Buy. And it's upside down. So I always read the dice the same way that I read reversals. If it's upside down, I kind of see it as try not to buy. Maybe it's telling me to leave my credit card at home. So we got our two dice. Now let's go ahead, and I'm going to walk over, and what it is I kind of have it lined up as 3 lines here, and what it is it's just in my brain. I know which bins have which cards, so I just kind of do 3 lines. Like this is in my these cards are in my big bin, these cards are in one of the oracle bins, and then this one's in the other, so it just makes it very easy for me to go through. Again, you don't have to have so many cards, I just do. So what I'm going to do, and so the way that I do it is that this is where it becomes very therapeutic, is that I have my 2 dice, and then I go ahead and I just say, okay, these cards came from my Ask Your Guides cards. And the reason that I kind of pulled them out is that I really do kind of, I put the previous day's cards back, and then I just kind of shuffle and see if there's any messages using that same deck. And then I also pull out new decks, you know, contingent on whether or not I used the deck in a reading. So I know that doesn't, let me try to make them, try to say that in a way that makes more sense. So I basically go through and I just say, okay, I'm putting these cards back. Do these cards have, do I feel like these cards, now that I've put the day's cards back, is there anything for tomorrow? So I just kind of shuffle it a few times. And if anything just really flies out or flips, or I just kind of get the vibe, okay, energy for tomorrow. Yeah. Very cool. So exactly. So you just kind of flip through. And I definitely take the energy, So we're going to go ahead and go with that one. And then I go ahead and I put the cards back. And while I'm putting the cards back, I just kind of look through the box and I'm like, okay, are there any cards I haven't used in a while? Is there any cards that I kind of want to pull out? Also, some of my cards, like I've told you, some of my decks are more real. Some of them are a little bit more, a little softer. So it's always contingent upon your mood. It's kind of like, okay, well, what am I in the mood for? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull out my Lenormand, my German Lenormand deck, because I'm kind of feeling those today. And I'll go ahead and give it a shuffle. My energies for tomorrow. Got two cards here. We got the Rider and we got the Ring. I really love those. So go ahead and put those there. Now, what I typically do is I do normally walk over, like once I have a few, I'm going to go ahead and walk over and we'll display them. And I kind of do them one by one. So we'll go ahead and do that now. And then my dice always goes in the same place. I kind of go ahead and put it here. I usually put the story cube pretty front and center. And then I just kind of feel it out. Again, this is all very, very emotional. It's just kind of like, okay, where do I want to put this? And so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of, I'm going to go ahead and place it in the areas that I want. I did get the card about denial. And what that is that's kind of choosing not to see something that's happening, or there's a much better description in the book, but it definitely talks about just seeing things as they are, not being blind. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put our Rider right here. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and put our two cards next to each other. There we go. Oh, I learned something new. I did not know those two fit so perfectly. Now I'm definitely going to be using our picture frames as card holders. And now we're going to go back over and pick some more cards. Okay, and now on to our next row. I'm going to go ahead and put this card back. It's one of my newer decks. This is the Quantum Oracle. It's got some really beautiful messages. Let's go ahead and see, is there any energy for tomorrow? Any energy for tomorrow? Whoa. Okay, I kind of have two flippers here. We got true love and great achievement. So I'm going to go ahead and take both of those. Sometimes if two kind of flip, and that was kind of what would I call a splay, everything. Anytime, either in tarot or in oracle, anytime the cards just kind of blow up like that, I always take that as exactly that. It's like an explosion of energy. It's like boom, right? And then the next deck is one of my favorites, so we'll go ahead and put these cards. They're going to be put over there. The next deck is the Wisdom of the Oracle. And all the cards that we end up pulling, I will put in the description box. So Yeah, we kind of got 3 here. So we got No Place Like Home, Observer, and Poised, but we had Poised on top. So anytime several cards come out, I just kind of decide. I definitely have nights where sometimes I'll do, you know, kind of, you know, I just go with the flow. I feel it and I'm like, okay, do I, you know, there's some nights I display nothing but, you know, I might only use 2 decks and kind of do multiples of cards from each of those decks. But let's go ahead and I definitely, even if it's a tougher message, I keep it, you know, because what it is that it's the combination of all of the messages. It kind of reads like a story, the same way that I read your cards. It becomes like kind of an overstretching theme. You know, I've had it happen. I actually had it just this last week where I pulled a card that said fear, and then it was right next to the scythe, which is sudden. And I had something very much out of the blue kind of scare me. It wasn't anything bad. It was just sudden, and I didn't expect it, and it really happened that day. So now the archetype cards, this one is kind of popping out. I'm just going to see what it says. Here we go. It says student. It's interesting, a minute ago one of the cards in this deck said teacher, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that one. And then, you know, we're going to go on to the last card in this deck, in this box, which is a very stuffed box. All of my boxes are stuffed. These are actually kind of file folder boxes. I just kind of put the lid on the bottom, and they're available at craft stores, but they're not full-sized picture boxes. They're almost kind of like Polaroid size, and they just work really well. If you have like, you know, if you have a collection of cards that's just, you know, maybe anywhere from 1 to 5 decks, this is ideal for that. It lets me, you know, kind of access it quick, you know. And this one kind of flipped, and we got changed the scenery. I really love that card because sometimes when you've been inside too much, or you know, you kind of need a break. You need a change of scenery, quite figuratively. So okay, and so we're gonna go ahead and put this deck away, and let's go back over to our display area. Now I don't really have a set pattern. I kind of, again, all of this is very intuitive. I just kind of feel my way through it. I do, you know, usually like to do kind of a 3-card spread for the back row here. I try to make the bigger cards there, but then I also do take into consideration the order in which the cards come out. I also kind of take the consideration as to whether or not this feels like just like that day where I had a sudden scare. I try to determine whether or not it's a main theme of the day, or if it was just something that might be kind of like an undertone or a minor. And I am getting kind of feeling like the denial is just kind of like something to bear in mind. It's something to keep in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right here, kind of behind the other cards. I can still see it, but it's kind of like something to remember as I'm looking at the energy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, and these came out in this order. And I feel like No Place Like Home, Observer, and Poised. And I love these cards. I know all the stories because I've read the book a million times. And now that I have that as my 3 base, I do like to put cards in between. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, again, I'm kind of feeling this out. So do I want to do it, and I'll even put it there just to kind of see how I feel about it. And maybe Great Achievement and True Love. Yeah, I'm feeling that. Something about true love being right next to the rider and the ring. Oh yeah, yeah buddy. And you can't really see it. I'm going to go ahead and lift this up a little bit so you can see. Okay, so you kind of see it here. We have, and this energy can be self-love too. I really read this card as being like a lot of self-love. You see someone looking in the mirror, and I see it as reflection as well. But I absolutely love the fact that it's right next to the rider and the ring, and you can kind of see, it looks like the energies are kind of the same. Let me go ahead and get a pointer where my hand isn't in the way. But you kind of see that it's like, you know, I'm not right-handed, I'm right-handed, so you see that she's kind of looking in the mirror, and then you got the rider and the ring, which is just such beautiful cards. And I kind of arrange it where when I'm looking at the cards from the front, I can see them. And so what it is you see the cards in between, and then you can see the energies. So, you know, no place like home, learn, observer, change of scenery, and poised. And then we're going to go ahead and do the last spread. And I have denial is behind here. So what we're doing is we're keeping that energy. You know, just because a card is talking about something that's a little bit of a stronger energy, it's still part of the energies for the day. So you don't want to forget about it. It came out in your read, and you know, that's kind of how I interpret it. So let's go back over, and we got one more pull, and then we have our energies for the day. All right, and now we're on to our last box. And again, I take it very much by ear. I just kind of go one by one and say, okay, you know, I pulled these cards yesterday. I actually pulled from the Ask Your Oracle because that was part of the 31 Days of Tarot, and I had the cards out. So I was like, okay, let me pull this for tomorrow's energy. So it kind of rotates out. It kind of one day flows into the next, and then I rotate out the cards basically on how drawn I am to the deck. And, you know, sometimes I get a real gut instinct that, you know, there's a message for me for the next day. But these are the animal guides. Yeah. And I'd actually seen this card come out in rotation yesterday, but I think that is a message for another day. I'm kind of feeling like I can put these cards away. And then the next one is my goodies from Christmas. This is my Flora. Flora. These cards are so beautiful. Messages for tomorrow. Messages for tomorrow. Any energy. What's my energy tomorrow? Oh, thank you. Oh, we got the yucca plant. And guess what it is? It says channel. Channel. Adapted for hot, arid conditions, yucca has mastered its brutal environment. This flora stands at the ready to collect morning dew and late afternoon rain. Yucca models cool confidence and calm interconnectedness. Oh, what a great word. Each arm serves as a conduit for communication and a channel to the unexplained. Oh my gosh. Loving that. I so love that. That's a really beautiful message. And again, these cards are like kind of like tea. It's like ink and tea coloring. And the other one we got, I think this is the rose. No, it's a ranunculus. I'm saying that. Purpose. Holy Toledo! I got purpose yesterday with the Ask Your Oracle cards. I really am getting like a theme. Okay, much like ranunculus symbolizes new beginnings, optimism, and delight. Fresh breath gives rise to new growth. Ooh, that's beautiful. It looks like a rose. It really does. But great. We'll take both of those. Those both flipped out. This deck has really been speaking to me. It's actually been in rotation. It keeps... again, I do the same process. I pick up the cards and see if any flip right off the cuff, and I'm not intentionally using them every day, but that's kind of just been the pattern. They've been coming out. These are my self-care cards. You've seen them in other reads, and then now one deck that tends to give really beautiful messages is this one, and you may have seen this bag before. But this is the angel guides cards. Any messages? Are there any messages? Oh, I might have mentioned in another video that I have a few cards every once in a while when I buy like a stone or something. The seller will send me like a card with the stone. This actually came with my little frog dude, and it was just a purchase off Etsy, and it was just so sweet with my little frog. And what it is the card is the same size as my angel deck, and because it's kind of a Christian card, but I get this card flips out all the time. And it's the same size as the rest of the deck, and because I don't have the full cards, I just put it in and I shuffle it. I have about 3 decks that I do this with, and it says God is in charge. And dear God, please help me let go of the situation, giving it in faith and trust to your divine wisdom and infinite love, in order to resolve and heal everything and everyone involved. And I take that as my, like, hand it over, any problems that you're having, give it to God. Is this the reading, the way that I read that? And this is a satin bag that I made for it. There's a stone inside too. Stone pockets have been my thing lately. All right, and so we have these cards, and now we have one last card. And what it is I'm going to warn you, these videos are marked as not being for children, but this video in particular I don't think is marked as being over 18. But I'll just warn you, this deck is has a lot of naked bits, has a lot of naked women. It's the artist is a man, and he likes, there's beautiful images, nothing scandalous, but lots of model-esque naked people. But the messages are really gorgeous though. And let's see, any messages for us tomorrow? Okay, this is on the bottom of the deck. It didn't flip out, but you can kind of see. There are a few. This is one of the tamer images. There's definitely a few flat out naked bits, and I don't have my emojis over here, so and I'm kind of not getting the vibe like there's any messages in that deck for me for tomorrow. But I am getting the vibe. There are 2 decks in my brain, in the recesses of my brain. Amazingly enough, I can forget what day it is, but I always remember what decks are where and what decks I'm attracted to. I feel like there are 2 new decks that I want to rotate in. I think I have one stand over there that's really made for bigger cards, and I'm really getting the vibe that I want to pull from my mermaid deck. And I have a stone in my pocket. And let's go ahead and let's get our big card. I call it my big card message. Let's get our big card message from the Oracle of the Mermaids, if I'm saying that right. And again, all the names of the decks that you see are in the description box below. What is my energy for tomorrow? Oh, that flipped. We got a flipper, and it was 1. Song of the Siren, the call, the summoning, the voice to acknowledge. Wow, I'm getting a really strong theme as that there's something I need to see, because you see, and in a minute we're going to go over that whole energy. What I love about this practice too is that what I do is, I kind of read the message the night before as I'm pulling the cards. I read the message, and then in the morning I see the cards, so I kind of, just kind of let it sink in. I let it seep in. Okay, what does this mean? What does this mean? And then when I at the end of the day, when I go ahead and, put the cards away, I think about the events of the day, and I'm like, wow, that's what it meant, or that's what it pertained to. So it's this kind of like cycle. It's this energetic, daily cycle, and it's exciting. Now, I'm also drawn to use the Soul Journeys cards. I pulled a few days ago this deck, and it's one of the few that's actually in a box. It actually just stands better on my bookcase that way. So what is my energy? What's the message, my energy for tomorrow? What's the energy for tomorrow? What's my message for Sunday? Maybe it doesn't have a message. Maybe I was wrong. Let's try one more shuffle. Okay, all right. This message is kind of sticking out on top, and my thumb really wants to pull out this card. So let's see what the two cards say. Balance and failure. I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. Wow, we are getting a lot of energy about learning and failure, and well, I'm seeing it about learning. I'm seeing you, we got student, we've got voice, we got silence. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's see if we have room for both cards. We'll make room. I'm terrible with it. Not terrible, but this is actually how I got into cards. Before I even started reading, before I had a YouTube channel, this is what I do. It started very simple. I'd only pull like one card, and that is something that you can do. You can pull just one card. You could have one tarot deck. You could have one oracle deck. It is completely up to you. And this is just my ritual. This is what I do to kind of relax and feel the energy. So let's walk over to the bookcase and do our final display. Okay, so now we get to display the last of our cards. We have room, there's plenty of room. And again, this was the bigger stand that I was telling you about. I always put my big messages there. So we've got Song of the Siren. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my yucca right over here. That's that little wooden stand that I showed you. It displays it so nicely. Sometimes I'll even flip it around where if the message was really prominent. And let's go ahead and I put my ranunculus, if I'm saying that right. Ridiculous. No, I'm kidding. And then let's go ahead and let's put our two other cards. There's one right here. And I also kind of go with the different colors too. Like, you know, I kind of feel it out. This is right next to denial. You know, saying that you need to see what you need to see, but I pulled balance first. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. Again, I go with my gut with this, with the layout. And again, if you're doing it, you don't have to do anything real complicated. You know, if you decide to pull cards at night, it is your ritual. It's what you like to do, you know. And this is what relaxes me. This is what makes me feel good. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my God is in charge right there. Right there. And I almost feel like the energy, the colors, kind of the way the swirls look. But yeah, so these are my cards. And then what I do is after I have them all displayed, and again, what you see is you know, when you look at it straight up, you have no place like home, observer, and poised. No place like home is like being true. It's almost like home is wherever you are. Observer is just asking you to kind of step back and see things. And then poised means that whatever you endeavor to do, you are ready to go. Buy kind of tells me that, you know, I kind of read that as be careful what you buy into. Kind of, and again with observer, kind of step back before you endeavor with something. It could also mean, you know, it's not payday yet, don't buy anything, put the credit card down. Now, the other thing that you see here is that you see the dice, you see someone who's bigger than the other. It's almost like Jack and Giant, right? And you see he's putting his hand over his eyes almost as if he's looking to see. I'm getting a lot of themes of seeing, of seeing. And then I see student, which means humility and devotion to knowledge, openness to lifelong learning. And then we have change of scenery. So the fact that it goes from, you know, you being yourself and home is where you are and learning and observer, and this person looks like he's observing. It's almost as if it's telling me to learn new things. It's almost like saying, okay, go out and do something different or do something new, or maybe I will be doing something new tomorrow or finding myself on a new adventure. We have the yucca, which is the channel. And again, it says, what tools do you have available that provides sustenance to your soul? And so I really do think that it's just telling me, you know, kind of go with your energy. Great achievement and true love. And again, the fact that there's only one person and she's looking in a mirror, it's almost like find love with yourself. The no place like your home really plays into that too. You are enough. You know, you're poised. You are what you know what you need. And then there's a balance here. And then I see, denial. Denial just really says, you want to be aware. You want to be, I really feel like it plays into observer and student. It's like, be aware. If you feel like, and you can be denying things on very simple level. Sometimes we just see what we want to see, right? We might not see things in their true form or their true way. But the Song of the Siren is, I take it almost kind of like the Judgment card. It's a little bit like a calling. It's calling you to do something. It's having a voice. We also saw the word purpose. And the fact that it says, I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. And the fact that it says poised, I really do think that that's just saying that, don't be afraid to go out there and try and fail. If you're called to do something, do it, but there is, there's a balance between, this is feeling a little bit relationship wise. The writer is definitely information, and it's like incoming, like I think of Paul Revere, the British are coming, and but the ring is it does talk about commitment, but it can also talk about your commitment to something, like if you're committed to a job or a hobby. So that can play into it, and the fact that it's near the siren. And then God is in charge, and purpose. See, oh, there we go. You see how we talked about having a purpose, and that came up? I really do think that this is, this might be giving me a little bit of a message. I think the universe kind of knew that this was going to be my 31 days of tarot. But I do love it. I always feel so comforted anytime the God is in charge card. That's the Archangel Michael card. There's a whole deck of them, but I have that one card. But yeah, guys, so this is what I do each night. I pull cards. There's some nights that I don't pull this many, and I definitely have the cards next to the pictures of my family, of my ancestors, and it makes me feel very strong and guided. And then if you choose to do this, I find it to be a very relaxing practice. Again, you don't have to have a million oracle decks to do it. You could have one tarot deck, you could have one oracle deck, you could have one set of dice, and it's such a simple, easy thing to do. I've read articles about people who've done it, after surgery, that they've done it after, even though they're a busy mom or a busy, they just busy with their job. I find it very relaxing, and it's something that I enjoy, and it helps bring me down and calm me down at the end of a busy day. And I think tomorrow I'm probably going to pare it down. I won't do as many cards. We'll just stick to the stands. But all of the materials I used are in the description box below. And that is my daily self-care ritual using tarot and oracle. I thank you so much for joining me today. It was really exciting to have company. If you know me in real life, please feel free to ask me how my day went. I'm very curious. The cards usually ring true, and it's always a very positive energy. And if you'd like to join me tomorrow, we are going to be continuing the 31 days of tarot. Tomorrow is day 20, and the question will be, show us your favorite lover's card and tell us why. So I hope you can stop back by then. And I'll see you later. Bye.